Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the channel. At Hatfield's Hideout Riverfront Cabins and Campground. I got the name right this time. I'm looking at the sign. I cheated. Anyway, some friends of mine own this place, and they have some cabins, pretty little cabins you can rent, and that kind of thing. RV sites, tent sites, things like that. Chancey Hatfield, buddy of mine, he's one of the Hatfields, owns this place, and he lets me come over and try out some of my experimental camping junk. And that's what we're doing today. We're just now coming out, well, I guess y'all know this, we're just now coming out of some triple digit temperatures. I mean, it was hot. And then we had a whole bunch of days, 3 or 4 days of obnoxiously heavy thunderstorms. I mean, you can see the river's probably up 6 foot, give or take, something like that. But anyway, we're not here for the river, so we don't care. We don't mind that. We're not here for the water today. We are here to do some experimental camping. Now, some of you may remember last summer did a little bit of a little experimental air conditioning in a tent, but I had the wrong tent. I had one that didn't have a floor in it. It's a big one too. It's a big tent. It's a 10,000 BTU air conditioner. I kind of figured, no. As long as you were near the business end of the air conditioner, you were fine, but the rest of the tent was hot. So I have a plan. You know how it is, the best laid plans of mice and men. Now, we're going to try a mouse plan and see what happens. Thought I was going to go for one of the human ones, didn't you? No. I'm going to set me up a tent over here, and I've got an idea to basically make a great big old shade cover for it. And my usual spot's available, so that's the one I'm going to go for. But I'm going to try to make a great big awning. And I brought my bike to go, have a little bit of fun. You can take the car, but where's the fun in that? That's a lot more fun than the car is. But anyway, I'm going to go right over here, that first picnic table, and I'm going to set me up a tent, it's an air tent, an inflatable, that I think should be able to seal up pretty good. But I'm going to put the inflatable up. It's a smaller one. I didn't bring my big one. I knew it wouldn't do that. But I brought my smaller one, and I'm going to put a great big cover over top of it to catch the sun and reflect it and stuff, and keep the tent in the shade, and seal it up, and put a 10,000 BTU air conditioner in it, and just see what happens. But anyway, all right, let's get loaded up, get our vehicle moved get our vehicle moved over into place, and get this little adventure started. Time to have some fun, y'all. Do some camping, ride the bike a little bit, and just find out if I can actually cool a tent in 90-degree weather. Once and for all, find out, We shall know by tomorrow what the deal is. See y'all in a minute. Let's get to work. Okay, well, she's set up, and we are ready. And just in time, too. Full sun. The sun, well, not full sun. It's still a little bit cloudy. But it's getting pretty warm. It's got to be, I'm going to guess 85 out here. But I've got everything all set up. I've got the AC running and all that. And I know what you're thinking. Anybody who's tried this before, I know what you're thinking. You're probably sitting there snickering, thinking it's not going to work. See, what happens with tents is the sun hits them and they get hot, and it just radiates heat inside, and it causes a runaway greenhouse effect is basically what happens. It just gets hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. If it's 90 degrees outside, and full sun, you can expect the inside of the tent to be 110, something like that. You can't stay in more than just a minute or so. You have to come back out. But I tried to come up with some weird stuff, y'all. I got a little bit weird this time. I've got pieces of 3 different tents that I'm using here. I've got the little inflatable tent. I've got the rainfly from the great big tent, and several fiberglass poles from a third tent, and I robbed some extra ropes too from that one. So we've got pieces of 3 tents here combined into one, and I'll show you what I did. I got the idea, covered wagons, covered, just happened to have one right here, but I got the idea from covered wagons to hold the top up and let the sun, this one's a lighter, and have a little bit of air under here so that it can't radiate and heat up the inside of the tent. And you can see I got some fiberglass rods, just holding everything up, which I got it tied up pretty good too, just in case it gets windy. Possibility, there's a chance of a shower today, but it looks really good. I've got good clearance all the way down on that side, and good clearance all the way down on this side. And it seems to be, you can feel this one feels warm. This one does not. So that's the difference. And, a bigger tarp would have worked better, because I could have covered, we've got sun hitting on the other end. And, that part of the tent and here, is still exposed. So, I'm just trying to get the radiational heating under control. That's the whole experiment. To come out and see if I can actually set up a tent in the sun, in full sun, and actually make it work and be able to cool it. Why not? Why not? Experiment time. You guys ready? And guess what? I have good news. Working like a charm. It's 84.5, 85 outside and 74.3 inside. And I got me a nice little fan, big screen TV, of course, and got me a hot plate, fix some dinner later. Look over my mess, my jumbled wires, and I did kind of leave my tent a little dirty the last time. I intended to hose it, but you know how it is. But oh well, we can live with that. I guess we can live with a slightly dirty tent as long as it's cool. And that it is. It's really nice sitting here in front of the AC and the fan. It feels really good in here. I'm actually surprised at how well it seems to be working. I did not think, to be honest, I gave it 50-50 chance. Would it work or not? Maybe, because I knew I knew I couldn't cover it all, and you can still see where it's brighter, the difference between there and there, and you can tell, where the tarp isn't and sun's hitting directly on that wall, so that one wall is still putting off some heat, but we got the fan to compensate for it. 73.7. That will work. That'll work. I had it set for 61. I just wanted to see just how see what we could do. Yeah, test the theory. Why not, right? But anyway, I'm going to go for a ride here in a minute. Maybe get thunderstormed on, maybe not. We'll see. We don't care. We'll come back. If it starts to pour rain, we'll come back and just park right there under my little porch. I did save some space. I thought about, extending the top on down and have more shade on this end. But to be honest, I kind of wanted the porch. So I put a little bit more on this end and made me a little, little place you can kind of hang out outside if it does rain, and, in the dry, and watch the rain fall. Or have a shady place outside later, whichever you prefer. But yeah, so far so good. The plan seems to be coming together quite well. Took a minute. It took a minute to get that cut, to get the tarp up over top of it though. Alright, we'll see y'all in a little while. Let's go for a ride. Looks semi-stable. What do y'all think? Any of them dark clouds bring some wind, we'll find out, won't we? I come back and the whole thing be flipped over. I got it staked pretty good though. I got stakes in the tent and what, 6, 7 on the canopy. No, 8. So hopefully everything will stay there. And we'll have a nice cool place to come back and chill out and watch some TV a little later. But for right now, this is a much better way to cool off, I do believe. Yeah, that works pretty good. Give him a right away. How y'all doing? River's really up. Look at that. Well, we're back at camp now. Had a little minor issue. I went out riding, took the bike out. Just right when the weed eater starts up. Anyway, took the bike out a little bit earlier and just riding around having a great old time. All of a sudden, error code 02. No power. She shuts off. Yeah. Figures. So I started pedaling. It's still a bicycle, even without power. It's still a bike. So I started pedaling back, and error code 2 all the way down through here. I'm thinking, power. I noticed I did leave the ignition on. I forgot and left the ignition on. It could have killed the battery. Hooked the battery up. All that good stuff. Was telling Heather about it. Well, what code was it? So she Googled it. And it said brake sticking. Happened to look at the front brake. Clump of mud had dried out. And that's all it was. Just a little chunk of mud, as near as I can tell. I've, kind of been cruising around just a little bit. Just to see, But so far so good. It seems to be running again. But yeah, that kind of sucked. I mean, it's only like 1/8 of a mile. But still, I wasn't planning on pedaling today. But, oh well, I guess it could be worse, right? At least it's not a dirt bike. You have to push it. You can still pedal the thing even without power. But we seem to be back to normal now, so okay. All right, let's go cruise around a little bit and have some fun and enjoy the day. The river looks like it's going back down a little bit. You can see about 1 foot of muddy leaves just above the water line. And they'll look like that until it rains, till it rinses the mud off of them. So, yeah, looks like the river's going back down a little bit. That's good to see. It's up quite a bit. It's up at least 6 feet. 68.5. As long as you're anywhere near the business end of that, the AC coming out, the cold air. As long as you're anywhere near the business end of that thing, you're fine. So, yeah. Mission accomplished. Yeah. Experimental AC unit for the tent. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and call it a success. Seems to be, like I said, working just fine. The only problem is you have a very small area where it is cool, and everything else is, which is not that hot, 77, 78. It's not that hot. Pretty weather. Beautiful day. But anyway, I'm going to head back out and do some testing on the bike and make sure that everything is okay and kind of move on from there. Getting about dinner time. It's about 6 o'clock now. Sun's still out and it's still nice and warm. But anyway, I'm making a steakums. Y'all remember old school steakums when you were younger? That's what we're having for dinner tonight. Steakums with some cheese and some steak sauce, and it should be really good. Alright, let's go for a little ride and make sure the bike's okay. Well, I have made it to sunset. The sun just now went behind the trees, and then the clouds came too, and so yeah, it's the sun's over there somewhere. It's behind those trees and clouds. Anyway, there's Chancey owns this place. His dad Hank takes care of it. I've mentioned that before. But there's a guy right up this little holler, right up in there. Go back over here where that cabin is and back up that way. He lives up in there, and he helps Chancey, and Hank, with grass and maintenance, from time to time, that sort of thing. But he stopped by here and just for a second and was telling me, "Hey, Leo, I know you like old, history stuff, right?" Yeah, you could say that. But he was telling me, he said that he found just right up here, as a matter of fact, right up in that little holler, right up in there, there's 3 flats that look like they used to be an old house seat or something. He said we thought they were, it was an old house. Said, but we got up there and got to looking and happened to run across an old headstone that was made of lead. Now, how wild does that sound? A headstone, a little tiny unknown, totally unknown graveyard. I mean, this is Hatfield McCoy country. There is no telling who it could be, you know, who could be up there. But anyway, it's been a really cool little day. It really has. All right, outside is pretty warm. Inside is inside's like a, you know, literally it's like home. You know, it's whatever you set it on, thermostat, and yeah, so no problem there. But yeah, it's about dinner time though. I'm getting kind of hungry, and I brought, like I said, I brought some steakums. So something easy, something pretty good, you know, got to be good too. But it's about time to get some food going. I'm getting pretty hungry. And dinner's a cooking. I got about 4 steakums in there. We may need more, we'll see. But for right now, I've got those frying, which don't take long to heat those up. Put them on there, put some cheese on them, a little steak sauce, and we are ready to go. That will work. I like easy. Easy is easy. Trying to stick a little bit. Trying to be careful of that. Just a little bit brown's all I want. Just a little bit. There we go. Just sit there and sizzle a little bit. And there we have it. 2 super sloppy steakums with some not Swiss cheese, it's whatever, the white stuff that melts. Anyway, I got me 2 nice 6-inch subs and 1 gnat. We'll run him off. He can go get his own sandwiches. But just in time too. Sun is gone. Just a little tiny bit up on top of the mountain is all that I see left. Just a little itty bit of sunshine up there. But that will be gone soon. Alright. Here we go. Super sloppy sandwich number 1. That is pretty good. Not bad at all. Now it is dinner time, and I will see you guys soon. Let's kick back and have a little something to eat. I am starving to death. Well, it is dark now. It's extra dark, very dark. But we got plenty of lights though, and everything's going pretty good, I guess. Had a couple little flies in the ointment, I guess you could say. I forgot. I brought my big screen TV. Forgot the remote. Got me a nice fire going out here, and we are okay. Also forgot my coffee pot to heat up my coffee in the morning. So I'm going to have to use the frying pan and clean my frying pan out so I can heat some coffee in the morning. But I can live with that, I suppose. You know, all the problems in life you can have, I suppose that's a livable one, you know. You have to heat your coffee in a frying pan. Ooh. I guess I can live with that, I suppose. Very nice night out, though. It is very nice out now. It's about 70. You know, the temperature is really nice out. It's just real nice and cool, and you know, really good temperature to be hanging out by the fire. That's for sure. But just in case, you know, if anyone ever asks, yes, Leo did get a fire going. It wasn't a really big one, but he did have a campfire. You guys are my witnesses, because y'all know the rule. Y'all know the camping rule. You have to have a campfire or you're not camping. It's a day trip if you don't have a campfire. That's the rule. Don't, I didn't make the rule. Don't blame me. But, we have a fire. If anyone asks, and they probably will. You'll probably get a lot of questions in the near future. Government people, hey, did Leo have a fire? Okay. But other than that, other than a couple little hiccups, it was a really good day, Had a good time. My little experiment worked great. Get in pretty soon. I've got, temperature's really nice in here. Getting there. That thing's behind. It says 9. So, but anyway, all right. We'll see y'all. Probably see y'all in the morning. Y'all have a good night. I'll probably go ahead and call it a night pretty soon. I'm actually pretty tired. Day started really early this morning, about the crack of dawn. I am a little bit tired anyway. Well, good morning, everybody. It's about 7 a.m. I've probably been up for about a half an hour. Just long enough to wash my frying pan and heat up some coffee. But it's pretty nice out today. The thermometer says it's 66, but it feels really nice out here this morning. It feels just like perfect weather. But look at all that mist up on the mountains. You can't even see the tops of the mountains. It's like that one level right there. Everything below it you can see. Everything above it is in the clouds. Pretty cool, isn't it? I always like that. It's that the dew, falls on the trees at night and all that, and starts to warm back up in the morning, and all the water, the dew starts to evaporate off all the leaves, all the surface area, and it's almost like the mountains are breathing. Pretty cool. But anyway, like I said, it's still early. I saw a little peak of sunshine right there. It's not just barely over top of that hillside over there, but we're probably 2 or 3 hours at least before it gets here. It's supposed to be about 90 degrees today, so either way I'll probably be long gone by the time it hits 90. I'm satisfied. My little invention, well, it's not an invention, I guess. It's more of a cobble a bunch of crap together and see if it works. But yeah, it seems to work, as long as you don't go with a bigger tent or take the top off, keep the heat away from the tent and cool the inside. It seems to work. But it's almost pack up time, I guess. I've got time to hang around and sip on some coffee and just soak it up a little while and then get started. But been a cool little trip. Other than a couple little flies in the ointment, bike issue, and forgot my TV remote, and forgot my little coffee pot. Other than that, we worked around all 3 of them. So other than that, I guess it's not that bad, right? Could be a lot worse. Could have forgotten, something critical. I have been known to do that. Went out one time, cold weather camping. Had, my ice fishing tent and diesel heater and all that stuff. I get out to my campsite and I'm putting everything together. I've got all the tent and bed and all that stuff put together, and go to put the heat together. Forgot the battery. Had to go all the way back to the house to get the battery to run the heater. Either that or have 0 heat in the winter. Younger days I used to do that, not so much anymore. Comfortable, not roughing it stuff. But yeah, well, I guess that comes with age, right? Comes with the AARP subscription. Yeah, all the heaters and air conditioning and all that junk. You get that when you get your AARP subscription. I like that. So that's, to me, an old cot is fine. Any old cot, in my opinion, beats an air mattress. You can put, I put a little mattress pad on mine, so it's, got a little bit of air to it. And, you know, in the winter, you can blow heat back under it and all kinds of stuff. You know, it don't flop and carry on and all that stuff. It just is. It's just comfy. And that's all. Just comfortable. Oh, that feels good. Warmed up the tent to 74.3. It's only 66.3 outside. So it's, you know, it's quite a bit cooler. It feels nice though. 66 is usually a little bit chilly, but you know, it feels really nice out there. But I'm going to give it a little bit of time and let some of the dew burn off and jump on the bike. I think we got the problem cured, the brake issue. It didn't do it anymore. The error code 2, it didn't do that anymore. And, you know, it just seems to me, I mean, if you go to the trouble of putting on a bike, a motorcycle, a car, whatever, error code 3, why not just, instead of having it say error code 3, why not just have it say front brake? Just saying. Just saying. Of course, I guess that's why cars do it. They don't want you to know. They want you to bring it back to their shop to have it fixed. Of course, that's totally not the case with bikes. You know, you don't bring that back to no shop to have it fixed. You fix it yourself. Anyway, here in a little while, I'll let the dew get off the trees. They're drippy wet now. You go through there, you'll come out soaking wet. But we'll head up this way in a little while and up into that hillside and see if I can't find that old headstone made of lead. Now, that should be different. Well, the sun is pretty much up. It's not on me just yet, which is good. But that's not going to last very long, is it? But I don't think I'll need DAC anymore. I'm getting ready to go head out and go see if I can't find that old lead headstone or whatever it is. It'd be interesting if it is, you know, some sort of headstone. You know, it's just, he said it's like 3 flats. And they thought they were like house, you know, old something or other, you know, coal mine related, because there was some mining here. But he went up there and looked one day and said he found that stone thing, said it was made of lead, apparently. So, yeah, that should be interesting. But anyhow, before it gets too hot, I'm going to head on over there and head up the hills and see if we can't find this thing and get back, and we'll get packed up and get loaded and hit the road. Well, I haven't found any stone yet, but I've had a really cool hike, I'll tell you that. Both hands for this. Well, check this out. Remember earlier when I got right here, right about here going up, and I said, look at those. Those don't look natural, right? And I pointed out that, you know, I broke a limb right here as a mark. You know, this is where you go back down the steep mountainside right there, you know. Coming back down, I happened to think, well, you know, just pay real close attention to the rocks. It may not be standing. It may be laying flat. And I saw a big one laying right here, right by where I went down at. Oddly shaped. Looks like it might have been used for something. Who knows? Who knows? There's a hole at the end too. Look at that. Well, I have no clue what that could have been. Who knows? Some Native American thing maybe. Who knows? You know, for corn. I don't know. I don't know why it would be up here on this hill. But either way, I happened to look around. Just finished scraping that one off. You know, yeah, looks interesting. That's a little different. Well, do we see any more? Yeah, over here's one. Let's just go take a look at that real quick. So I walked over here. And found it. This is the picture. Well, this is the stone that I saw a picture of. Let me get my light. CISCO, Allen, ALLEN, Bailey, 47, and that I'm not sure about. You know, it looks like something didn't quite get finished, didn't get cut out all the way or something. Because you can see, if you look right there at the 4, that's how they're doing that. They're drilling and then cutting the little lines in between the little holes that they made. That is pretty cool though, isn't it? Now, it's some sort of metal. I don't know if it's lead or not. It's pretty heavy. I guess it would just about have to be lead to be, you know, where you soft enough to where you could just do that with it. I guess it might have to have some sort of lead content. That is really wild though, isn't it? Perfectly square. Cisco, Allen, Bailey, 47. Hard to say what that could be. Looks like an H, but I mean obviously it's not. 64? I'm guessing it's supposed to be 64. Just never got finished. And then I really needed to climb and found it on the way back down. But I guess that's, you know, who knows where this actually went. Huh. Yeah, doggies. I see a flat right there. Directly in line with it. So I don't know if it would have slid that far in that short a period of time. It's a really strange place, isn't it, to put a grave. Really weird place. You imagine just getting the stone up here, let alone the person. Huh. Pretty peaceful, isn't it? Raw nature. And a dog. So I guess they're nature too, so it's cool. Alright, there's my gate, and we are back out, back into civilization, and back into time to go pack up the tent and get gone before it hits 90 degrees out here today. Yeah, you're a good guard dog. No, really, I'm a squirrel. Really, trust me, I'm a squirrel. I'm not a human. Pretty place though, isn't it? 100% gas. No ethanol. Alright, let's see. I'm guessing the tent inside will go 89. Anybody want to venture a guess what you figure the temperature is? It's been sitting in the sun. Well, the shade was about here when I left, and you can see it's completely gone. I'm gonna go 89 inside. It's about 80. No, it's about 75, 80 outside. Oh. Outdoor, I'm reading 90. Indoor, I'm reading 110. Alright. I guess it's not flashing like that in, you know, here. It's just doing it on camera. 90 outside, 110 in the tent. Fine, I'm packing you up in a minute anyway, whatever. Alright, I'll see you guys in a minute. Let's get a little bit of coolness going that you can at least sit in front of while you're loading. And let's get to work. Okay, well, I guess that wraps that up. Everything packed up and loaded and ready to go. It's pretty warm too, by the way. Just saying, it's getting there. It's well, not getting there. It is there. It's hot. Broke a sweat a couple times, but that's summer. Comes with it, right? Like winter, you know you're going to be cold. Summer, you know you're going to be hot. It's kind of the way it works, I suppose. But anyway, great big thank you to Chancey and Hank and Jamie and everybody else. Appreciate the hospitality here at Hatfield's Hideout. Come over and test out our little theory. So now we know, though, right? You can indeed cool a tent with an AC if you put a cover on top to keep the radiational heating from turning it into an oven. It will work. It will work. But it takes a little bit to do it, and the only thing about it, setting up a place like this out here, in the wilderness or wherever, wherever you got power, is you can set up the place to be cool or warm or whatever you want, but once you step outside the tent, once you step outside the door, it's cold or it's hot or whatever. That's the thing about it. It's nice and comfortable inside, but outside may or may not be. Anyway, all right, I guess we're out of here. I appreciate all of y'all for coming along. Hope you enjoyed our little adventure. Turned out pretty good. Went in that little expedition this morning, way up there in that mountain. That was pretty cool. I liked that. That was a lot of fun. Anyway, all right, guys, I'm out of here. We'll see y'all next time. So until the next adventure, y'all have a really good day, and Leo out.